Dr. Kessler, would you describe your history in the relationship to Dr. Hill?
Dr. Hill was a student of mine at medical school upon graduation.
Dr. Kessler, would you describe your history and relationship to Dr. Hill?
Dr. Hill was a student of mine at medical school. Upon graduation, I asked Dr. Hill to serve as residency under my direction at Mass General. When finished his residency, I asked him to join our surgical staff.
Dr. Kessler, how long have you been teaching at Harvard Medical School?
21 years.
How long have you been chief of staff at Mass General?
14 years.
So, you've been in the position to work with thousands of young doctors, am I correct?
Yes, and I might add that some of the doctors I've had the privilege to teach and work with are among the very best in the world.
And how would Dr. Hill rank in this group who are among the very best in the world?
There are none any better.
Thank you. Miss Riley.
Dr. Kessler, your faith in Dr. Hill's surgical talent is obvious.
And completely deserved.
Dr. Kessler, 7 months ago, the position of Chief of Surgery became available at Mass General. Did Jed Hill seek this position?
Yes, he did.
Did you give the position to Jed?
Excuse me, my client name is Dr. Hill.
Oh, forgive me, did you award the position to Dr. Hill?
No.
Why not?
Well, he certainly was qualified.
But you didn't give him the job.
There were many other candidates.
Surgeons more qualified?
This isn't a trial, Miss Riley.
Dr. Kessler, during Dr. Hill's residency at Mass General, you wrote several monthly evaluations. Evaluations to be read by administration, department heads.
Yes.
I'm looking at one right now dated June 15th, 1982 and bearing your signature. I'd like to read from page 3, paragraph 4. While Jed Hill consistently remains to be the most skilled and brightest of our residents, we should not ignore what I and several of his colleagues observed to be an indulgence of the God complex. God complex. That's not a typo, is it? It says God complex.
That was written over a decade ago.
What's a God complex?
How did you get this information? This is privileged
Dr.
information.
Kessler, what's a God complex?
It's a term that has no clinical meaning at all. Doctors throw it around when...
Oh, sorry. Do that again, please.
It's a term that has no clinical meaning at all. Doctors throw it
Sir,
around
all
when...
due respect, knock it off. What did you mean when you said Dr. Hill had a God complex?
The power to heal can be an enormous thing to save a life, to get blood flowing through cells and vital organs. If a person can do that, and one can do it exceptionally as Dr. Hill, it is not uncommon for a person like that to begin to believe he can do anything. The power to heal can be like a drug.
Oh, like a drug, you say. Would it be uncommon for a person with a God complex to reject the advice of others?
No.
Would it be uncommon for such a person to proceed on a course that others might reject, if only out of a sense of God-like power?
Oh, I think you're vastly overstating.
Is that why you didn't give Dr. Hill the job?
There were a number of
Is
other
that why
factors.
you removed a healthy ovary without any scientific diagnoses?
Don't you address my client, Miss Riley.
No. Do you have a God complex?
This is not acceptable.
No, I think it's about time I answer some questions, Ed.
Jed.
The question is, do I have a God complex?
Dr. Kessler says yes.
Which makes me believe that this lawyer here has no idea what kind of grades one has to receive in college in order to attend a top medical school. As if you have the biggest clue as to how talented someone has to be to lead a surgical team. I have an MD from Harvard. I am a board certified in cardiothoracic medicine and trauma surgery. I've been awarded citations from 7 different medical boards in New England. And I'm never, ever sick at sea. So I ask you, when someone goes into the chapel, and they fall onto their knees and they pray to God that their wife doesn't miscarry, or that their daughter doesn't bleed out, or that their mother doesn't suffer from acute neural trauma from post-op shock, who do you think they pray into? Now go ahead and read your Bible, Denise. And you go to your church. And with any luck, you might win an annual raffle. But if you're looking for God, He was in operating room number 2 in November 17th. And He doesn't like to be second guessed. You ask me if I have a God complex? Let me tell you something. I am God. And this little charade, sideshow, is over.
We got a winner here, Lisa.
Call my office in the morning. We'll work out a settlement.